Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Logan, Weaver and Cheerleaders here, bringing you an album review of the new album. It's been out for like a week and a half or so now, um, but it's entitled Rescue and Restore by August Burns Red. Now, just before I get into the review, I'd like to give a brief history of myself and the band. Um, I've been listening to August Burns Red since I was in 7th grade when I was 13. So it's been like, because I'm going into my senior year in high school now, and uh, I'm 17. It's been like uh, 4.5 years thus far that I've been listening to August Burns Red. They were around. They were like kind of like the second wave of bands that like they didn't help me get into metal, but they what they did I think was help push me further into liking metal. They came kind of in like the second wave of bands. The first wave of bands that got me into metal came around to me when I was 12 in like the middle of the 6th grade, which those bands were like what um, you know would be viewed as a real metalhead um, would listen to, like All That Remains, Bullet for My Valentine, As I Lay Dying, Slipknot, Killswitch Engage, those kinds of bands. And so I listened to that for a little while, and then August Burns Red came around, and I found out about them because I heard they toured with As I Lay Dying, who were my favorite band at the time and still are now. Uh, so I thought, oh, they toured with As I Lay Dying. They must be pretty good. That's how my 7th grade mind pretty much thought. So I gave a listen to the Messengers album, which is, in my opinion, their best album to date. And, the singles like Composure, Backburner, uh, you know, got me, like, oh shit, this is a fucking really heavy, really raw, really intense, great band. So I went out, got the Messengers album, fucking loved it. Constellations came out, fucking loved that too. Um, 2011's Leveler, which, do not get me wrong, I really, really dig that album too, but it was a step down definitely a step down from Constellations, and I just because of the they pretty much just, along with pretty much meeting the limitations of the metalcore rulebook they've been glued to ever since their inception. Other than that, just the mess of experimentation on the album, like that completely out of place like salsa groove thing on Internal Canon, that kind of just how those random ass kind of like passages were thrown in. Didn't really dig that, how it would be so sudden. The passages themselves didn't really interest me all that much at all either. But you know, I mean, come on, songs like "Poor Millionaire," "Empire," "The Brilliant Salt and Light," the title track, all very heavy, very well crafted. Some of my favorite August Burns Red songs ever. But so anyway, like I said, with Messengers being my personal favorite August Burns Red album, I wanted them to, even though I pretty much knew the whole time they weren't going to, I wanted them to like kind of go back to what they did so well with Messengers. And you know, even though that I think like Rescue and Restore isn't a return to form, it finally shows August Burns Red getting the proportions right with their experimentation, and it has made Rescue and Restore a great leap forward from Leveler. So, anyways, the thing that really just I fucking love about this album is that where the use of like congas, strings, and that shit seemed like pretentious and out of place on Leveler and just fell flat on Constellations, it actually works on Rescue and Restore. And like it's just each interlude, every orchestral arrangement, it's August Burns Red diversifying their sound because the song demands it, not just for the sake of sounding different. Um, and for that kind of element, uh, the passages, flowing real well with the music and actually being damn enjoyable. Where if you're looking for that kind of shit, I would say check out the songs Spirit Breaker and Creative Captivity. Those two songs I think really highlight that whole aspect real well. But the one thing that that I feel made Messengers just so successful and effective as a metalcore record was that it didn't try to be more than what it actually was, which was a complete oral hammering and an extremely fucking well done one at that. And for the fans that for the fans of Messengers is huge breakdowns and odd meter riffs and just that raw intensity and aggression, fret not. There's still like this new element, um, their whole kind of like I don't know, just with the interludes and shit, that new stuff that they're throwing in, it in no way impedes the heaviness that's won so many fans over the course of their nearly 10-year career. Um, and I mean, look, songs like you'll even probably find songs like Treatment, Count It All As Lost, Sincerity, and Animals to be some of the heaviest August Burns Red material written to date. And I would just say the difference between Rescue and Restore and Leveler and Constellations is that August Burns Red just seems like they know when and where to implement this kind of experimentation and when to withhold it, which I really think worked out so well for them. And as far as individual members' performances, I'll start off with the most well-known member of the band. Well, what I feel is the most well-known member for was now I cannot fucking talk. I'm sorry. Most well-known member of August Burns Red, drummer Matt Greiner. Uh, his drumming on this record is just it's so fucking impressive just in its sheer magnitude, but more importantly just the placement and shape on this record. I mean, he sounded relatively, I have to say, even though the drums were fucking great on Messengers too, he seemed kind of a little too mechanical and going with the music than I would have liked. But finally on Constellations, we finally got to see him sort of out of his shell, and he's been doing his thing ever since then, and Rescue and Restore is absolutely no exception. So if you're a drummer and you're looking for something very interesting on the drumming side of things, I would say definitely, give this album a real good listen, because there are plenty of things to love about the drums on this album. Next, guitarists J.B. Brubaker and Brent Rambler are defined on this album less so by rhythm and lead guitarist, and each bring their own diverse work to the album. I mean, just writing, except for the first song August Burns Red released before the release of Rescue and Restore Fault Line, when I first heard that song, I was just like, oh, here we go. Leveler 2.0. I mean, fuck, I didn't know what else to think because it sounded exactly like everything that's on Leveler. But luckily, Fault Line is one of the weaker songs on the album. Still not a bad song by any means, but too Leveler-esque. Um, does not really do much for the as far as progression on the album, but that's the only track that's really like that. Um, then it actually another great thing about this record is audible fucking bass, something that has never been presented before on an August Burns Red album. At least I don't think so because I usually don't have a very good ear for um, the bass. But you know, if I'm talking about the bass, you know, if you're someone who looks for bass, you know, you'll be fine. um, but even his bass playing too, it makes you wonder why it was never really audible in the first place because he's a fucking great bassist. All I can really say. And Jake Lurs, not only has this dude's voice improved drastically, but um, his lyrics on this album are leaps and bounds of what they were before. Absolutely, positively. Just, especially in Beauty and Tragedy, the track Beauty and Tragedy, which is an amazing song, by the way. Very beautiful song. Just expressing, because, you know, with August Burns Red being a Christian band and all, him just expressing his faith in more sophisticated and empathic ways, and his personal reflections on, like, Leveler, they don't seem uninspired or banal at all. They all feel straight from the heart and should make you feel some sort of way. At least I did. I really dug his lyrics on this album. So, overall, the true achievement I see with Rescue and Restore is that it shows a talented band finally expanding on their sound in a way that's both appropriate and meaningful. Um, I mean, hey, maybe it's the producer pushing the band in the right direction, or maybe it's just August Burns Red realizing, you know, when their experimentation works and when it doesn't. Either way, it's still great to see a band as talented as August Burns Red succeeding in something that they've clearly had the ability to do all along. So, last thing I'll say about this album is if you are a fan of August Burns Red or even metalcore in general, give this album a listen. Give this album 2 listens. Give this album 3 listens. Give this album as many fucking listens as you can, because what I can guarantee you, fans of metalcore, is if you fucking want some amazing progressive metalcore to listen to this summer, this just came out. It is so far, in my opinion, the best album that's been released this year. Will definitely probably be in my top 10 albums of 2013 later this year. Um, just, this is a must have album of 2013. So that's about it. Let me know what you guys think about the album, um, about what my review. I'm still pretty new at this. I'll be back soon with new album reviews, vocal covers. Uh, but anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Comment below if you have something to say. Subscribe, and that's it. Peace out.